Rochdale Station carries sheep and cattle on medium rolling to steep country in central Hawke's Bay. It's the home of Kate Dearden, who relocated from a life in the city and who's taken on the challenges that life and climate change have thrown her way. Kate and her partner Terry Walters are continuously developing their farming policy for a resilient dryland farming system.
We're 930 hectares and we're 750 effective. We've also got 27 hectares of forestry on farm. We are sheep and beef property. We winter 250 R2 bulls and 250 R1 bulls, and we've got a ewe mob of 1900 Romney ewes. We also run 50 R2 steers, and we've got 58 cows and calves, or 58 cows with their calves on. We're looking to phase out of the cows this coming autumn, and we're going to go up in 50 steers so that we'll have 100 total, and they will act like the cows as our pasture management tool to keep the quality good for the rest of the stock. We're always a summer dry property and we're a winter wet property. We've got heavy clay soils and then we expect to dry out in summer, but we've had two really bad droughts that went right through late summer into autumn, and we had to feed all of the stock that was still on property through that time. So what we've decided to do is downsize our capital stock and go up in trading stock to bring more flexibility to the business. Our 250 big bulls, we winter them up on our shale country where it's free draining and they don't pug the soil. It's best environmental practice for us. And the balance we winter on a crop which contains them to a small area. So we're just wanting to plant this year our winter crop in kale and undersow in plantain, so that in the spring the plantain will come through and we won't need to re-sow twice. We'll be halving our establishment costs. I came from Auckland, and in 2003 I took part in a program called City Girls, where 5 girls from Auckland had the opportunity to come farming to Ongaonga, which is a place near here in central Hawke's Bay. And we had 6 weeks of farming experience, learning to farm, seeing farm freshly through the eyes of people who hadn't grown up on a farm, perhaps.
Nice set of ivory there. She's good.
And I loved it, and I met Paul just at the end of that time of filming, so we long distance dated for a while, and then I moved down in 2004. When I first arrived, I was a physio and I worked in town, and Paul ran the farm, and we had 2 small children, so then I was a stay-at-home mum, busy with them. And then Paul passed in 2016 when our children were 6 and 8, and one of his wishes was that I become a trustee in his place of the farm. So I needed to upskill a lot. I was really lucky that Terry came and managed the farm. He'd been teaching agriculture for 20 years, and I really needed to learn in a hurry all that I could, and he was prepared to teach me, so that was a real blessing for me at that stage of my life. So yes, now my role is I do the accounts, I run the office, do the GST, and I have a team of dogs and I help out when I can on the farm as well. And I'm involved in all the day-to-day planning with Terry, with what we're going to do and the changes that we're making on the farm going forward.
I've been coming here for 6.5 years now here, and when I first came here, came into quite a dry autumn, but having said that, our springs were running really well then, and we've had 2 successive droughts a couple of years after my arrival, and whereas our spring water just pretty much vanished or was reverted to a trickle. So that forced us into having a look at our water infrastructure, where we were forced to put in solar systems. We put in 2 solar systems, whereas one system pumps into another one, and another one, that system pumps up to 2 big tanks, and then it's then reticulated down to probably 50% of the farm. So all up was just under 100 grand of investment in our water infrastructure. We've also put a 3.2 million litre dam at the back of the farm, which has future-proofed us for any droughts to come. I think sustainability is the key. We're constantly looking at our business each year and refining it and making sure that we're abreast of the changes and rules and regulations which are upon farmers now. So we'd like to think that it's going to be left in a great state for the next generation, and I think that's all part of that sustainability thought process.
We're just next to our QE2 block on the farm. It's a 56 hectare area that we've cordoned off. It was bush and we wanted to protect it. It's part of Paul's legacy that he fenced it off and decided to put it into a QE2 in about 2004. One of the things that we discovered when we put it into a QE2 is that we've got a rare native hebe here, so it's great that that's protected. And we've also found signs of the long-tailed native bat living here. We've controlled for possum for many years, and now there's no sign of possum, which is great. But we are under threat from deer. We have a lot of transient deer coming through. So ideally, we would be looking to deer fence it to protect the undergrowth. We're just looking into if it's logistically possible. What we have been doing for nearly 20 years now is fencing off and riparian planting our gullies and waterways. We source our plants. We've worked closely with Jack Richardson from Tree Guys in Otani, and we've also sourced from Mari Taylor from Hawke's Bay Plants. And now we're sourcing through a local nursery that's just started up in Flemington. And they're just getting established, and they're actually sourcing seed now from us. So it's a really nice full circle where they're growing our plants and we're buying them back. It's really satisfying.